G'day. Okay, I was being stupid in my last video and I couldn't find it, but I found it. So this is the Mythic Plus changes I was just talking about um, with the affixes. So it was a bit while ago now, 8 hours ago. This was published. Has revealed a brand new affix system, which includes Xalatath-themed affixes and a removal of bolstering and sanguine. That's what people wanted to hear. Okay, so there was a big interview from Wowhead last week with some devs, with Ion, as Dorky calls him, um, saying that they've got some big changes coming up for Mythic Plus affixes and how they're going to work and whether they're effective in high keys, low keys, mid keys, whatever. This week's beta update includes major changes to the Mythic Keystone affix system in the War Within based on player feedback. Our primary goal is with these updates to refine Mythic Plus experience to better serve a diverse player base. They were talking in this interview about how there were multiple audiences for Mythic Plus doing, plus twos and plus fives to doing your plus tens just every week on different characters to people pushing high keys. Previously, approach was a one-size-fits-all, which is proving challenging, the right balance, and limiting our design space. In this new build, you'll see significant shifts in our design philosophy. We recognize the importance of a weekly variety for those progressing through the system. However, for our players pushing high keys, this variance has sometimes felt restrictive. We've also heard your feedback about wanting affixes with both positive and negative effects. Kiss curse is what people refer to that as well as a desire for the thematic nods similar to past affixes. This update to the thematic nods, I assume they mean like seasonals. This update to the affix system aims to meet those diverse expectations, maintaining the core goals, blah, 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 blah. Can't be bothered reading the rest of that. Let's get to them. We're reducing the total number of mechanics on keystones. The following are retired. Boom! Sanguine, bolstering, raging, bursting. Goodbye. We've heard a lot of we've heard feedback that apply bonuses unevenly to players feels exclusionary regardless. Affixes that were part of last keystone test will no longer apply. Thorned, attuned, focus, and reckless. These were the ones that gave, fire and frost damage amp. Like they've they just binned that. There was a bleed damage one. There was that's gone. One bucket of active affixes for players progressing through the system offers variety along with positive effects for executing these affixes that apply more evenly. We're introducing thematic elements to affixes in evoking Xalatath in the Mythic Keystones with our own set of affixes. We're using passive affixes to signpost expected increases in player mastery and commensurate rewards as players progress through the Mythic Keystone system. We're aiming to eliminate push weeks by providing a consistent challenge that focuses solely on the dungeon for players seeking to advance deeper into the Mythic. This is the only bit that matters. Whatever this bullshit was about, fine. They might as well have said here, we're changing everything. We don't want there to be push weeks anymore. This is what we're actually doing. Starting at +2, Xalatath has self-will manifest in dungeons, introducing a rotation of affixes under the banner of Xalatath's Bargain. These affixes not only seek to empower the dungeon's denizens, but also grant players opportunity to harness their effects. Okay, so you zone in, Xalatath will be there, and you make a bargain with her. For our first test this week, we will have 2 Xalatath's Bargain affixes available. One affix is an event that players must deal with periodically, while the other is passive, effect on creatures throughout the dungeon. Okay, so this was like the difference between something they were talking about in the interview where when something shows up periodically to have to be dealt with, they thought that there were a group of players in the mid keys area who hated this, and it really made their success rates suffer. Pausing. Okay. Our first test this week we will have 2 bargains available. One affix is an event that players must deal with periodically, while the other is a passive effect on the creatures throughout the dungeon. Okay. 1 in combat. Range down. Sorry, I paused the recording. I ran downstairs to get food. I ran back up. And I'm not the fittest person in the world, and now I'm short of breath from running up and down the stairs. Apologies. While in combat. Zalatath ranged down. I got some food as well. You might hear me eating. I'm really sorry about that. No one watches these videos anyway, so it's fine. Rains down orbs of cosmic energy that attempt to empower nearby enemies, increasing their haste and movement speed. If players disrupt these orbs, they claim this effect for themselves. That sounds cool. That sounds real cool. Frenzied. Non-boss enemies become frenzied at 30% health remaining, increasing their haste by a lot, increasing the damage taken. Also cool. Okay, so the difference between these being like a periodic effect that happens and a passive effect is something that Blizzard devs discussed in their Wowhead interview, where they thought the periodic effect was more difficult for mid-level key players, and it had an effect on their success chance. They kept saying they had a bigger effect on their success chance than the passive effects. And so now you get to have a bargain with Zalatath and choose a periodic effect or a passive effect. Then we are going to... So this is the level 2 edition. So this is the first affixes at level 2 and up. So in Mythic Plus, Zalatath's bargain happens and you get this. You get that all the way up to level 7. At level 7, you get a new affix. Challenger's Peril. These directly affect the dungeon timer. This affix emphasizes precise play and strategic dungeon execution play a greater risk on players' decisions. That sounds fucking great. Challenger's Peril. Dying subtracts 15 seconds from the timer rather than 5. Great. Oh, is that it? Okay, so I thought that was going to be this bucket has this goal, but that is not. It's just at level 7, dying's worse. At level 12, a new affix replaces the bargain. Zalatath revokes her bargains, empowering the creatures with a 20% increased health and damage. What? Huh? Okay, so you lose the bargain and you gain a standard effect at level 12 and up, plus your Challenger's Peril. So this is like a fun gameplay aspect, and then high keys is not fun, it's just hard. Fortified and Tyrannical now serve as milestone affixes that alternate between keystone levels 4 and 10 on a weekly rotation. We feel this provides us with a clearer points in the system where increases in difficulty rewards occur. This also affords more distinction between key levels for players progressing through the system and a consistently week-to-week experience. So at level 2, you get the bargain thing. At level 4, you get a Fortified and Tyrannical swap. At level 7, you get the Peril. At level 12, you lose the bargain, you get 20% extra everything, but you also lose Fortified and Tyrannical, and it's just always active. Okay. I'm going to eat some more food. I apologize for the noise. At +4, it's active. At +10, it's active. And at +12, keystones would have the following affixes. Fortified, challenge. Oh, the other one is active at 10. It says, I see. I was like, this is like the same thing, but it's the same thing, the other thing. So you get fortified, you get peril, you get tyrannical, then you get even more? This is cool. Okay. Fortified, peril, tyrannical, and guile. But no bargain. Okay. I'm excited.